Amazon June coming to you from my war room with today's updates on the fake media. It's been a busy day, and I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit because things are just rolling so fast that everybody's having knee-jerking reactions to everything that's being uploaded on the internet. And I don't know if you guys have caught on to this or not by now, but there's a war on for your mind, as Alex Jones always says, and it's being fought in the internet age of information flowing too fast, and not giving you enough time to research it and fact check it. And you can't rely on the media. I mean, it's less than 8 hours or less than a day after Giuliani was on Hannity, and then they said that they wiretapped Cohen's office, and ABC waited all day till 5 o'clock to print on the internet in a very small section that they had to retract that statement because it's not true. So the media blew up over that all day and probably pissed off a lot of people and Trump. And that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to get your knee-jerking reaction and keep you from researching and finding the truth. And that's why, you know, they're censoring our conservative views on the internet, whether it be Twitter or Facebook, Instagram, all of that stuff. You're being bombarded with bullshit. You know what the old saying is? Either dazzle them with brilliance or baffle them with bullshit. And that's what the media is doing. So, excuse me. It's so dry up here in Wyoming, and it's just dust. Everybody's rolling past on the roads, and dust is flying everywhere. But anyway, so there's dazzle you with brilliance or baffle you with bullshit. So we need to send a clear message to the media. And how I'm going to do it is I am no longer going to be allowed or clickbait. I'm not going to click on anything that is sensationalized, that will invoke emotion, that will try to change my opinion. And I'm going to do my own research on every single media that spends every single day pounding at our president. A couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. Yeah, NBC had to retract the wiretapping on Cohen's phones, which they probably did anyway, but they forgot to include it in their FISA warrants, and thereby it probably would be kicked out of court because it wasn't done properly. So don't believe that they didn't wiretap. They wiretapped every fucking buddy in the Trump campaign. I think we've all come to the realization that that's what they did. And that's why they want to get Trump under oath and talking about any of this, because it's a perjury trap. And the Democrats have already said they want to impeach him. So they're looking for a white-collar crime to do it. And that would probably make the rhinos really happy, and the Democrats click their heels like Dorothy does in The Wizard of Oz. I do think that they are doing this on social media because they found out that it works through Trump's campaign and how well we got the election, because we are all connected on social media. You know, this is a platform where millions can see you. And Democrats didn't quite know how to use that platform, but Trump definitely turned it into the gold standard. So now they're going to take advantage of that fact, and they're going to pump us full of bullshit. Anyway, let me go down my list here. Okay, it's Perkins and Coie. The DNC was laundering their money through this legal lawyer's office. That's why they're searching Cohen's. Okay, there's no longer attorney-client privileges, people. You need to realize this. That when your case is concluded with any attorney, you get them to turn over all their records to you personally. And this is where Hillary's been brilliant. She has all the records. She never turned them into State Department or the government. So there's only one copy, and they were in her lawyer's office, and they're probably now the destroyed documents. I mean, she's probably been paper shredding for years. But you can get a copy of everything in your file. I did with my civil suit, and I keep it under lock and key. And if it's ever subpoenaed for anything, I have all the documentation of my case. It's better in your hands than your lawyer's. There's no longer attorney-client privilege. There never really was. I mean, these guys, Mueller's not telling, he's not leaking. I don't think he's leaking. I think this is all sensationalized bullshit to get public opinion swayed one way or the another for the Democrats. And the media is making these stories up. And I think they actually made up a lot of those questions because I'm not a law expert, but I have worked very closely with some of the most brilliant minds in Casper, Wyoming, in the legal departments, in lawyers' offices. And one of my very dearest friends, he's a Democrat, so I love to banter back and forth with him. And he was also my attorney that helped me win my property suit, a case against the county for my cars. But anyway, I was picking his brain a little bit this morning about it, and he said, there is no such thing as attorney-client privilege, Judy. You'd have to be naive to not know that. There are always hard copies of everything that happened in your case. That's how we trial lawyers win our court cases. Okay? The point here is that if he was ever subpoenaed for my records, and they had belief, and they could prove by, a preponderance of evidence. In most cases, it's an affidavit that you're in search of a specific crime. Okay, and they can get access to your files. So they're better off in your hands rather than your lawyer's hands. Okay, now with that, this has happened on both sides of the aisle. Both parties are guilty of doing this. So I'm not going to come off here right now as a hardcore Republican, because I'm not. I'm definitely not a Democrat. I think I lean more to the Constitution Party, because that seems to be what's under attack more than anything in our country right now. And it's the basics of the Constitution. We know it's not being taught in our schools. We know that really good books in libraries are no longer able to carry any kind of so-called divisive history, whether it be from tearing down our statues or court filings and pleadings. Those are not being disseminated very much anymore unless you go actually know what you're searching for. And a lot of people are just simply too lazy. We know the press is too lazy to do any research. That's what people like myself do, and Tracy Beans and Alex Jones and Joe Paul Watson and WikiLeaks and all of these concerned, Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and Art Bell and Dick Morris and Larry Nichols and Lisa Hegman, and I mean, there's Tracy Beans. There's dozens of us out there, but we're being censored because the Democrats have figured out how we contact one another and what we do. And when we post something that is damaging to them, or to a Republican for that matter, a rhino, you know what that is? That's Republican in name only. And half of our Congress, of our 100 Congress members, about 46 of them are fake Republicans. And you'll hear them screaming and yelling at the tops of their lungs. Or they won't take a position on anything. They just kind of ride the tide. Well, anyway, I wanted to go on with this, but so let me find this again. Okay, we got to remember that this Perkins and Covey, there are other senators, congressmen that also use this law firm. Okay? Just hold that thought in your head for a minute. And the media is after Cohen, Trump's lawyer. So they, to me, this is what I think personally, I think they're trying to figure out who Trump does business with, because they can't bribe Trump. They can't blackmail Trump. Every president's had something on his ass. You know that. I know that. That would destroy them. You know, like what was it with Obama, that he was friends with that controversial pastor and had photos taken. That didn't come out until after he was out of office. Okay, so they flipped the script. So what the Democrats are doing is exactly what the how do I want to say this? Democrats are accusing Trump of everything they actually did. And if we had an attorney general with any balls, he would have told this to Trump before he took the office. And for 2 years, we've been trying to clean up after Sessions' fuck up when Kamala Harris and Al Franken just took him apart in that hearing, that confirmation hearing. Jeff got flabbergasted. He was he's a gentleman. So he wasn't going to attack Camilla back because it's just bad manners. And Al Franken wouldn't allow him to talk, so he got taken off at the knees. And if I'd have been Jeff Sessions, I'd have recursed myself from the office. That would have been enough for me to walk away from it, because the very reason I got into that office was to clean up the corruption in Washington. And he basically neutered himself by allowing them to back him in a corner and agree not to get involved in anything Hillary or the 2016 Russia thing. Okay? Now, going back to what I said, the Democrats they flipped the script. Everything they did, they're going to try to get on Trump. And that is exactly what it's proven out to be. And I do a lot of research, and so does everybody else. And people, you have to get our videos out. We have to keep together. They know when we're talking to each other and they're blocking us. So don't worry about your followers. It's not how many followers you have. It's how much of your information is getting out. Okay? Take that to heart. Let's go back to this Perkins and Coy. You know who else uses this law firm? Senator Warner. The DNC used them. Hillary Clinton used them. Obama uses them. And I'll bet if we dug a little more, we'd find a lot more Democrats that use this Perkins and Co. to launder money and to placate favorites, squash lawsuits, you name it. Okay, because that's what Cohen does for Trump. He takes care of stupid lawsuits, you know, and he probably has his permission after all these years to just go ahead and deal with most things, you know, and tell him about it later. So I believe Trump. I believe that he didn't actually turn around and say, hey, give her the $135,000 for Stormy. I think it was paid off, and then when, because they send their bills, you know, once a month, and I know when I'm dealing with a lot of my lawyer friends, they send you paperwork as they go along. Okay, today this happened or that happened. Okay, and you get updates on stuff. And Trump, being that he had, you know, 500 businesses or celebrities that have, you know, oodles of money in different places that are being sued by, you know, gold-digging women. I'm sure they get a packet this big every month of just, you know, legal bullshit. And, you know, I'm going to give Trump a little detail or a little forgiveness on this as well. He's trying to deal with North Korea. He's trying to deal with Russia. He's trying to deal with the negative ads every day and constant attack on his cabinet members. He's trying to deal with Congress and Senate House that won't pass his appointees along to where he can get his government in place. He's been there almost 2 years and he still don't have a full fucking deck of cards to run the government. And here he's tied up with this fucking bullshit of the Stormy deal, being wiretapped. WikiLeaks drops all this shit on us that's truth. And Democrats have lost offices, and they still continue down this road of accusing the President of the United States of doing exactly what they've been doing for 40 fucking years. You know, Hillary made a lot of promises, and Obama made a lot of promises. Congressmen made a lot of promises. And just that fact of Hillary to win, can you imagine the fallout from all that? There has to be people out there just going, I gave that bitch 200 grand and I can't get, this done now because she's not in office. Think about that. Let that sink in. Everything they depended on was to get Hillary in office. And it didn't happen. So you've got the swamp that is just absolutely, people are losing money. They invested in all this Chinese steel and they invested in other countries and they were drying our wealth up. And all those people waited for Hillary to take office and the bitch didn't get it. So that's why the media is doing what they're doing. And that's why the Congress, these Democrats are doing what they're doing. They don't want that swamp drained. They're comfortable. It took them decades to make the connection with the donors to get the money to, be the greed and funnel money to their liberal groups to drain the wealth of America. I mean, think about it. We've been paying everybody else's bills so fucking long, we can't pay our own. And Trump changing that is got to be. Can you imagine the money people have lost so far? That stock market up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's up a lot because people are going, wait a minute, Trump's doing what he said he was going to do it. Maybe we'll invest in America again, and it's kind of like that with the leaders around the world. They're going, we're not dealing with Pimp Boy anymore. We're not dealing with crooked Clintons. We're not dealing with Baby Bush. We're dealing with a man that has built 500 companies, made his own self money, is beloved and admired by business moguls. And let's face it, America is a business. And it's been run into the ground. Most businesses would be taken apart and sold off into little sections, to regain the money that it's lost. But we don't get to do that with America. It's an all or nothing thing. And the tremendous pressure, nobody else I think could handle all of this as well as Trump has handled this, because he's one of those hands-on businessmen. He's got his hands in every project and every decision that has to do with making money, making businesses grow, fixing the problems in his companies, just like he's happened to do in the White House. Everything he did for his businesses, he's happened to do for the White House, because we have been so fucked up for so fucking long that it's going to take decades of men like Trump to straighten America out. So let's be frank about that. Let's not just do 7 years of trying to save the country and then put some fucking lackey in there that beats us in the ground again. So it's up to us to vet these people. And I mean, search it out. Don't rely on the internet. You go to a history book, you go to a library, and you find the actual history of every single one of these players. Because it's out there. And I do it every day. And so does a million other Americans that are true patriots and love this country. We may not be able to pick up guns, but we've got our mouth and we've got our platform. And I'm not going to let them take my platform away from me. I'm going to continue to do my videos on everything that I find that they are fucking trying to screw you over on. And I make that promise to you, to the day I die from my cancer. That's what I'm going to do. I asked God, I said, put me where I can do the most for mankind. And it was research and prove the truth. So this video is a little long. It's 19 today, but I wanted to tell you that. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this salacious dossier. We knew that that's opposition research. We know that the FISA court does not have any oversight. Problem one. There should be a board of, a voted board to make like what Congress does, their Congress boards, on oversight of the FISA courts. They have no one they have to answer to. And from what I'm understanding, it doesn't take much to get a FISA warrant. Of course, it doesn't take much to get a regular warrant, but a regular warrant you have to really prove it up to get a judge to sign away on that. And that was one of the reasons I was upset with the 702 program getting slid through and renewed for longer than it should have been. It should have been waited out until House changes and Senate changes from the election before they dealt with the FISA deal, especially since it's being shown that the F.B.I. and D.O.J. and all of these State Department and intel agencies all have rogue agents in them that are undermining our government right now by leaking and lying and using unnamed sources to the media. And to re-up their money was probably very foolish. I have to agree with Rand Paul on that. It should have been made to wait until they can prove why they need that much money to begin with. And why are they still spying on Americans? And Clapper said they weren't. And that was a lie to Congress. We know that. Comey lied to Congress. Rosenstein, he's not doing very well either. Sessions is nowhere to be found in this area.
Call from
Johnny hold on, I have a... Sorry, today was my Monday as far as issues everybody's having in my little world. You know, this one needs that one, and this one needs that. So I've been on the phone all day long and I've been trying to get this video done so that we can talk about this war on American patriots and conservative views. And the distractions were being force-fed by lame street media and TV talking heads that probably never had a practice in their life that's generated any money because they're such lousy lawyers. And anyway, my last one here is the fact that it's called The Fruit of the Poison Tree. I'm going to play lawyer here for a second. And I brought this up to one of my mentors who's been a 40-year litigator and won some very, very major cases. And even mine was a major case. It was going to have to be heard in front of the Supreme Court if the district court didn't rule in my favor. So we lucked out and we had a good judge. And we put together a rock-solid case for property rights in Wyoming and grandfathering rights, should I say, property rights and grandfathering rights to full use and enjoyment of your property. Anyway, I should do a video about that. I'll have to because I really, really want to give a big hands up to my attorney, Harry G. Bondi, 40-year practitioner. He's had some really huge cases from cell phones blowing up in people's pockets to military contracts and stuff. He's no slouch when it comes to litigation. Anyway, the media is doing, they want impeachment of Trump, and that's the ultimate goal, is to get him impeached. The Democrats let that out of the bag less than 2 hours after he won the election. Even before the election, they were saying impeach Maxine Waters. I really hope California wises up and fires her and Pelosi, Feinstein, Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, all of those Democrats that are in California. They need to be gone. And you guys need a really good governor that will roll back some of these astronomical property taxes you guys are paying that is basically being funneled to liberal groups to work against your rights. And that's what they are, is they're liberal groups, pussy hat wearers and socialists and everything they've accused us of being. And we're not the ones out burning cars down. Or tearing down American histories. And for 8 years we didn't give Obama the grief that we're given to Trump in 1 year. It's just astronomically amazing. But anyway, that's what their plan is to keep everybody so off-kiltered that we're not noticing how many actual laws that are being broken on both sides. I mean, Lady Justice doesn't just have her eyes band-aid or bandaged, they've poked her eyes out and put duct tape over her mouth. And that's why you won't see too many real prominent lawyers that know what they're talking about on television. These are just rank amateurs at best. First and third year law students could probably kick the shit out of their case within 5 minutes. But Mueller's playing this really close to the chest, and I think he's letting some of this stuff go out there through these unnamed sources and made up media stories to get a feel for the public and to try to convince you that President Trump is destroying America when every day I would beg you to differ to find one promise that he hasn't completed. He's completed more promises than 6 last presidents. I mean, the guy is trying to tick him off the list here because he studied politics for a long time. He ran in those circles. I mean, him and Hillary knew each other, and I know he knows a lot more of them. And so he's had his eye on American politics since the 80s that I can remember when he was on Oprah Winfrey. And he hasn't changed his points of view just because he's a president. He saw that we were getting unfair trade, and he saw that our wealth was being drained, and he's trying to do something about it. It's our turn to help him once again, and that is by taking over as many Democrat seats as we possibly can to get a supermajority in the Republican House. So we can offset these fake rhinos that are in the Republican Party, because we can't get rid of them until 2018 or until 2020. Right now, there's only like 9 of them up, and pretty much all of them can go in my book because, except for Ted Cruz and Rand Paul and a couple of the other ones, but for the most part, a lot of those Republicans can go. All of the Democrats could go. Everybody from Schumer on down to Pelosi to Maxine Waters to Cory Booker to Elizabeth Warren to Bernie Sanders. These are the obstructionists. And they are so mad that all of these deals that they made on the pretense that Hillary Clinton was going to be president is falling through. And that's why you're seeing a lot of them jump ship. A lot of rats are jumping ship too, because once Jeff and this deal is over with the Trump deal, the Justice Department no longer has a chain around their ankle, and they can go after actual corruption. And these boys know it. And they're, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the Democrats are the only criminals. There's just as many Republicans that are criminals too, and they're making their move right now. You can tell they're getting out of the business. And a lot of these CEOs of corporations have left, Hershey's. And if you look it up, you'll find at least 100 CEOs of very big companies are leaving their companies because when and if their crimes are discovered, the company's going to be liable for it. So, I mean, you need to pay attention to more than what the right hand is doing. While you're looking at it, the left hand is pulling the deeds. And that's what's going on. That's what media is doing. And that's what fake talking heads on these talk shows, Joe Scarborough and Rachel Maddow. And I mean, you want to see some flipped out people that talk on these shows? My God. And they say that's news. That's not news. It's all opinion based. There is not actual facts in 9/10 of what they're telling you. So anyway, wake up, America. Trump needs us. We need a supermajority in November. And then we can kick some powerhouse ass. And every day that another promise is kept, another shady deal comes out, they cover it with some bullshit story somewhere else. So be mindful of that and check your facts. Don't leave it up to them to do their job, because media is not doing their job anymore. And that's why they want to shut all of us down, because a lot of us are pretty reliant on our research. We really dig into this stuff, and it's not just through the internet. It's through the library. It's through print articles. It's through periodicals. You want to know the real truth? Crack a book. Don't rely on media to force feed you. They're dazzle you with brilliance or baffle you with bullshit. So with that, I'll conclude this video, and I hope you like me. Hit like and leave a comment in my comment section. I always leave it open, even if it's derogatory. And you can follow me on Facebook under Judy Jones and Casper. I do a lot of posting there. I get in jail a lot too, but you know, what are you going to do about it? I'm just glad that Pi is in charge of the internet, and eventually he'll get this straightened out too. And hopefully we can break up some of these monopolies, you know, whether it be Twitter or Facebook, and find other platforms that won't demonetize our videos or hide them from our followers. So with that, anyway, God bless you and God bless America. This is Amazon Jude signing off.